Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eddie Marcus. I'm spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. Now, this isn't a government agency. This isn't any agency that's set up by any other organization. In fact, this is not an organization. This is a movement, basic human rights for all people. And I gave it the name because that is the mission that I've been on for quite some time. I'd like to give this message specifically for you who are of the 99%. You have occupied yourselves in various cities throughout this nation, and you're dissatisfied with the way things are, especially the advantages of the 1% against your disadvantages. I understand your pain, I understand your suffering. I understand because I've spent 33 years out here trying to address the concerns of the 99%, those of you who are dissatisfied with the system. And for 33 years, I have made no impact for one reason or another. But I haven't given up. Most recently, I sent a letter to my city mayor, to my governor of the state of Minnesota, and to the President of the United States. And I've mentioned to them that those things that are important to me, as those things are important to each of you, I demand that they be met, even at the extent of giving up my life. I am tired of being a slave. A slave, and when I say slave, I mean the 1% got a liberty to do anything they want. And you and I, we have to do whatever we can. That's not fair. That's not right. Now I ask you, out of the 99%, those of you who are camping out, occupying Wall Street, occupying the city halls of these various cities, every last one of you got a concern, a major concern, something that is very important to you. And I agree, and I'm sure you would as well, that many of you have different concerns, but yet you are there because your concerns are not being met. I'd like to ask you this question. Who amongst you occupiers out there, whose concern is the least important? Whose concern is the most important? Is there anyone out there amongst you who could be satisfied with someone else's, of this 99% concern being met and yours being unmet? Well, I'm sure we would come up with all kinds of answers if we were serious with it. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, every last one of you who have a concern, it doesn't matter how different it is just as important as any of you. I wish you believed that. I wish I could get you to understand that. Because if and when you can understand this, this is the only time that you got power. If you understand that regardless of your gender, regardless of your race, regardless of your economic standard presently, that you are no more important than anyone. Here's my experience. Many of you talk about being the middle class. When you state middle class and your middle class concerns, what you are basically doing is separating yourself from the poor. Poor class. And if you could get your middle class concerns met, you wouldn't worry about it. They wouldn't have to worry about it. Truth of the matter is, if you could accept that as a reasonable outcome, then you don't deserve to have your concerns met. You do deserve to have them met only if you recognize that the poor need to have their concerns met as well. And if you are willing to change this from the middle class, from the poor class, to we the people, the 99% of us, demand to have our concerns met, then you would be empowered. Presently, we have people running for President of the United States who are playing straight up games. Not a single one of them care about you 99%. I don't care what they say, when they say it, They do not give a damn about you. Their concern is those people who give them the money. We as a people have allowed them to get away with a scam that requires that so much money is made to put themselves before you and convince you because you don't care about others. I'm asking you to care. I told a young lady the other day that the difference between a shepherd who cares about his sheep is that that shepherd will not rest until the sheep are well protected and have what they need. But a con shepherd, a shepherd in false clothes, will use what the sheep have to satisfy themselves. And if danger comes, will run away and abandon the sheep. You 99% have been abandoned. I'm one of you, and I know I've been abandoned. But I've been fighting back. My initial comeback was when President Reagan was President of the United States. A lot of folks love President Reagan. He was fantastic for them. But for others, Ronald Reagan was a nightmare. And at the time, I was a military man in the United States Navy. I knew Ronald Reagan was wrong, but it seemed as if nothing could happen that would make Ronald Reagan change his mind or the people lose a little lust for Ronald Reagan and care for the masses. And so what I did, I decided to quit the military. I decided to take an other than honorable separation than to follow the leadership of a man who cared so less about his people. And I looked for that other than honorable separation to be a badge of courage for me, to let the world, whoever had to run across and get a knowledge of Eddie Marcus, to know that I don't stand for those junk like that. And since that time, I have run for President of the United States, I've run for Senator of the United States, I've run for Governor of my state, and I've even run for Mayor. Why? Because I demand that changes be made. But as I sought these offices, ladies and gentlemen, I had to run as a write-in candidate because the people could not embrace the fact that I was concerned about all of you. And you left me out here by myself. And today, I'm putting this video together for you to let you know that the only reason you deserve a change is if you care about everybody else. That 1%, do you want to be like that 1%? You can be like that 1%, but you can be more powerful than that. I don't mean separate yourself from the rest of the people when you get yours. But I mean that whatever that 1% can enjoy as being a part of being in this life, you can as well. But it cannot happen under this capitalistic system. We can keep a democracy, but the system has to change in such a way that it embraces the concerns, the major common concerns about every last one of us. Food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, careers of choice, leisure, liberty to travel, to do the magnificent things that you always hoped that you could do. I know the message that I bring to you. Many of you have gone to churches and you've never heard this kind of message. They tell you about the afterlife. Many of you have used to go to church and have stopped going because you don't even believe in someone that does not care about you. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, unless you can embrace the whole of the 99%, you do not deserve to have your needs met. But I know you will keep on struggling, but that's not why I'm talking to you today. I'm talking to you today because you have set yourselves apart. And I need your support. I can't go to a church and ask for support because churches don't want to hear this message either. They are concerned about your souls. But I'm saying to you, you've heard it said that how can a man say he loves God when he does not care about the people that he sees every day? God is never seen. I say to you, how can one be concerned about your soul and not care about your life? I'm asking you to give me your support. I need your support because I want to experience the fullness of life. But I have no desire to experience that life as long as you are denied it. So I say to you, if you truly want your concerns met, then really do something about it. When I watch the news, they say that the occupiers don't have a central message. Oh, they look around at your signs and they see you're concerned about the economy, you're concerned about the lack of jobs, you're concerned about the environment, you're concerned about a whole host of things. But they say you have no leader. They say you have no one that's standing up front for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing up front. I'm standing up front for you every day. You don't know it, but I am. And the reason that you don't know it is because I am standing for all of you, it seems as though you are not interested in what I do, because you are not interested in all of you. You're just interested in you. And if I don't address your concerns, if I don't make you feel that you are the one who is important, then you don't believe that these things can happen. Let me give you an example. Our legislature, the state legislature, we have problems with the economy. They're trying to make up a budget. And so we're concerned about what the various organizations, what the various groups want to say to protect themselves, to save themselves. And you go down and have a dialogue with the legislature. And you have people coming in from healthcare, various segments and departments of healthcare. You have them talking about people who don't have jobs. You can imagine the gamut of things that are being talked about. Everyone goes in there and tells that legislature or that committee about themselves. And depending upon how that committee feels or what that committee objectives are, they listen. And some they will embrace and others they won't. And yet as I listen to these guys and ladies and organizations that testify, they are only concerned that they get their desires met. They don't care about the other people, all of the various people in the room who got problems. Each of them care about their individual concerns and not the concerns of everyone else. And when I go there, I go and speak for everyone, and they seem as if they get angry because I'm speaking for everyone and not them specifically. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to live. Right now, I've asked my mayor, I've asked my governor, and I've asked my president to make sure that I have carte blanche to do anything I want to do, just like that 1%. I asked them for me and my family for one reason, because I've stood up for the whole nation, but the whole nation stepped aside. And so I can't go there and say, for us, when I'm standing there alone. So I asked for me, because I know that they're not going to do one thing for me. But I have given them an alternative. I've given them a way out. Kill me, because I will not settle for anything less. But I come to you, ladies and gentlemen, because I know if we can come together, if I can get you to care about each other as much as I care about you. And when I say I don't want to sound so altruistic. I don't want to sound so different. But what I'm saying to you is that the power that created you also provided that all of the things that you would need in this society would be available to you, so that you can live here in your state, in your city, in this nation, as though you were in paradise. And you have been conned out of that. I'm fed up with it, ladies and gentlemen. And since you have put yourself out front, said that you're going to occupy to draw attention, you've gotten mine. Now, what are we going to do with this attention? Right now, they're getting ready. The weather's getting cold. A lot of things are going to have to change. The cities and states that you're living in are getting a little bit upset with you now. And after a while, they're going to start beating heads. They're going to start spraying all kinds of rubber bullets on your butts to try to get you out of the public squares. I know they're going to do it. You know they're going to do it. You're hoping that they don't, but they are no different. This system of government is no different than the same things that's been happening all across the globe. They're just putting on some restraints right now because they know we've gotten our face in other people's business, trying to tell them how wrong they are. And they don't want to show the world right now that they are just like those they've been putting down. But eventually, you're going to see them pull off the false face. You're going to see the mask removed, and they are going to come at you like white on rice. I'm saying to you today, we can beat them. We can beat them, but the only way we can beat them is we must join together. We must say that anybody in this country who's sleeping on the bridges got the same right to have a home, that got the same right to have education, got the same right to have health care. And you've been told that this cannot be done. But I want you to know it can be done. It must be done. Otherwise, if there's one who cannot have education, let it be you. If there's one who cannot have health care, let it be you. If there's one that cannot have a career, a job to participate in the creation and manifestation of goods and services that we the people have determined are essential for us to have a kind of life in this society, let it be you. Now I know you don't want it to be you. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, reach out to your brothers and sisters. Then you come together. I don't care how much hate you've been taught in your upbringing. I don't care if you're black and can't stand white. I don't care if you're white and can't stand black. I don't care if you're middle class and can't stand poor or vice versa. You have no power whatsoever until you come together. And let me tell you, the evidence that you have no power is the 1%. You see, the 1% have already robbed from the poor. And the masses of you who consider yourselves middle class, you're complaining now because that 1% are now stepping on your toes. They used to want to be millionaires. That's when they had robbed the poor. But now they are determined to be billionaires. And to be billionaires, they got to rob everybody. They got to rob everybody globally. They got to get cheap labor. They got to get where they can get the most money that they can for their product. And I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, they're going at it real well. Now, you've had George Bush, Republicans. You know, the masses of you, all of you know what you're going to get from George Bush. I don't care if you're a Republican, you know what you're going to get from the Republicans. You have Barack Obama, Democrats. I don't care what you are. You know what you're going to get from Barack Obama. You're going to get the stagnation. You're going to get this going no place. Because one group is looking out for themselves and to hell with everybody else. And if you practice that same mentality, you are not going anyplace. I'm begging you to wake up. I'm going to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is an unseen power. And that power created this earth. That power created everything that is above this earth, that's on this earth, and that is in this earth. And that power created you. That power put something in your brain. That power put something in your heart that gave you a desire to want to live and be able to do something on this earth. That power did that because that power knew that every last one of you required, just like you require oxygen and air to breathe and live, you require the other essentials of life. And by giving it to you and making it possible, no man or woman or human being can claim it because they brought nothing with them and they will take nothing out. And yet, you can only get it by contributing. And if every last one of you desire it, and if it has been provided for every last one of you, then how can we as a people get it? We can't get it under this system. And unless you hear a presidential candidate tell you that this system must be changed, they are con. You can't say, I'm going to cut this program out because you don't like it and you want to make somebody else angry over here about what you're going to do for the environment. You got to have a plan that will affect everybody. And in order to do that, you got to change the system. This system was designed to do exactly what it does. And I don't care how you look at it. You're not going to get anything from the system but what you have already got. You cut something out, you lift somebody up. And to lift somebody up, you're cutting somebody down. And you think that's right? Do you agree with that? Any of you agree with that in this 99%? If you do, pick up your bag and take your tail home. But if you really care, you don't even have to stay out there in the cold. Just make up your mind that there will be a change. And in this political season, you make sure that there's a change. And that change will not come from a Republican. That change will not come from a Democrat. That change will not come from a Libertarian. That change will not come from a Green Party. That change will come from people whose hearts are meant together and say, we are one. And if I stand, we must all stand. And if we stand together, we are a powerful people, a most powerful people. And we can achieve exactly what we desire. I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, come together. Now, as I said, I spent 33 years out here. So I know I'm serious. I don't know of anybody else who's done this. I don't know of anybody else who spent this much time advocating for all of the people. Dr. King was the last person I heard of, and they killed him. And they'll probably kill me. And what I'm saying to you is, if they do kill me, it doesn't matter. The message is the same. In order for you to grow up, you're going to have to stand up. And in order for you to be powerful, you're going to have to come together. So you think about that. My name is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. And I live right here in Whitberry, Minnesota. And I am fed up with the jive. What about you? Let's become one. Bye-bye.